Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today we're going to be going over the new troop of Shocktopus. This technically came into the game on Monday and is still available, via the Soul Forge underneath the yellow gem. It was actually craftable. This was by mistake. They meant to give it out on Valentine's Day. Came a little bit later than Valentine's Day, but yes, it is still available through this, and everyone got a free copy earlier today. If you go under your mail and then under the claim, we get ourselves 500 souls as well as the Shocktopus copy right there. So we already had one of them earlier, and let's get into some teams. He is the community built troop that was made about 3 months ago, or almost 4 months by now. That was basically voted upon based on a lot of people's requests, and this was the basically the result of all of the voting that came from the troop. It is a 12 mana cost green-yellow. It destroys 8 of a chosen color. This can be of absolutely any color except for skulls, and that mana will be accumulated because it is destroy. This is 2/3 of his mana if you do end up accumulating it for himself off of either a green or a yellow. It then deals true damage to every single troop that was of that color. So if it aims at the yellow and the enemy has 2 yellows, it'll hit both those yellows. If they have, for example, purple in this case, where they have 3 purples, it will hit all 3 of them whenever we take purple, but only when we take that color. And of course, we also accumulate that mana, so if we did do it on purple, our Mist Stalker right there would indeed gain that 8. As far as traits, a little bit towards the weaker side, though it is pretty good at countering out Submerge. It has 2 things that make it pretty well against Submerge. The first factor is, of course, that it does 2 times damage to anything that happens to be submerged at a given time. And on top of that, it also has an ability that can bypass the submerge effect. So since it can only hit things of the certain color, if the enemy team is using something like this, for example, where it has 3 purples, and 1 green-blue that doesn't have any purple on it. If the entire team was submerged, or those 3 specifically, and we hit on a purple, it would actually still hit them because we're not hitting everything on the opposing team. So since Shocktopus can very easily hit 2 or 3 of the opposing troops, Submerge will very rarely ever be able to work against it, since it only works if you're hitting absolutely everything on the opposing team. If, for example, the giant spider was dead and all 3 of these were submerged, then it would not do anything. But assuming in a case like this, we would be able to hit those colors and hit all of them. Oh, and we can also do it on red. I didn't even notice that. But let's go into the teams then. Let's go start with the lowest one. We're going to do a low level one, a mid level one, and a higher level one. This one is the absolute cheapest one, basically just using rares and kingdom epics. The Wolf Knight is a rare. He ends up doing true damage off his ability, additional 1 if they're already damaged, which means they're missing HP value. And he also, if you happen to have him fully traded, has a 50% chance to do true damage with his skulls, which would be 27 each time. We have Azura here, which you can get for free from completing out the Merlantis quest line, and she dispels all enemies, which gets rid of all positive stats effects, and then decreases a random skill, and that random skill can be HP, and we're mainly using her as an exploder for mana generation. We're set to a blue-purple banner, so we can accumulate her mana. We have a Mist Stalker here, who's mainly just for cleaning up. He does true damage to the weakest enemy, which is whichever one has the lowest armor plus HP value, and then gains additional magic if it gets to kill, and if it doesn't get to kill, it gets a poison on them. This I would advise getting at least the first trait on if you're a newer player, because you get really good value out of that simply from having an additional purple, and of course the last one is the Shocktopus. So we'll go move that down, take over our mana initially. First thing we want to do, if we can, is get Azura immediately up, which we can. We'll go move that over. We have a Wolf Knight, though, that's only particularly useful if something is already damaged, and since he has nothing damaged, we're actually going to ignore it for now. And now we finally have a target if we so choose, and then we can follow it up into a Mist Stalker and then go for the kill. I think instead we are going to go for a skull and then into another skull or something along those lines. So we'll take this one initially. He'll take the other one. Doesn't really leave us much of a follow-up. I guess we will go for the purple, hope it surges, and kind of just move on from there just so we get another explosion. We're only 1 mana cost on him. We could also go for that, do it on something like a yellow, and see what we can do from there as well. Kind of just want to go into the purple though, because if it surges, we get the excess. We could also kill this out pretty easily soon, and it'll also give our Mist Stalker something to target at. So right here, if we did have that on, we would want to aim at purple so we can actually get rid of it. We do not currently have it up, and I do want to actually explode just so there's going to be less purples. And we do indeed get the extra turn right there, though it does look like about the same amount of purple. But what we can do now is, since he's about to do a cast that is oriented towards purple, we can get rid of some of his purples by using the Shocktopus on it, and that will hit all 3 of his troops right there. And we have a Mist Stalker now. This is not within kill range of anything. It hits based on lowest durability, so it's actually going to hit the giant spider right now, not the Infernus, even though it does have enough damage to kill the Infernus. This has a 65 durability, whereas that only has a 49, so it's going to hit the spider instead. So we could still kill that, but we'd have to combo it with this poke and then do a Miststalker, and then that will die, which leaves only the 3 that we can all simultaneously hit. So that will now die, we Miststalker it, and now since that's the lowest durability, if we get another one up, we will be able to one-shot it that way. We can also one-shot it with a Wolf Knight. That'll be able to do 26, so it looks like he's starting to loop some, and it does look like he has a potential of winning with his loop. Will he get it all the way? I think he might. And he got his HP heal right there. It does look like he will kill the early game team. That is unfortunate. I think we can still pull through. Let's see. He's going to start spamming that. I'd almost rather him just take the skull. It's going to do less value than anything else he's going to do. And he doesn't even go for it. And he does land the kill. And it doesn't look good. We'll go throw the explosion down, get our stat reductions. Miststalker's not going to be able to come through that many times. That is not that likely. Though we do survive a skull. So if we get truly lucky here, we could just Miststalker 3 times somehow. Oh, never mind. We just killed that. Oh, I killed the wrong one. I was hoping we would kill the other one. I didn't look at the durability. But nope, down it goes. Okay, we might need to try something slightly weaker to do the early game team on. That would work. Double Christine X Dragon Soul and a Salvani Moore. Still has the triple green, so we will be able to go and hit all of them out and go from there. And then we'll go into the higher rarity teams. Yeah, this one is super cheap to make. The most interesting thing about the Shocktopus is mainly how you actually use them. Very unique in that you have to... there's a lot of possibilities every single turn that you have to actually use them on. So do we use them for damage? Because right now we could do green to go do damage, or we could try figuring out a different color that might have better board control, or something that we might actually need from the board. But in this case, I think we are going to go for green, since it does hit the most amount of damage right there, and we do get a decent cascade, plus the 8 mana goes straight into him. Since we had nothing else to really feed mana into, that was the best thing to do at that point. And doing it to green again basically would work. We could try for the red. Of course, it could do a random 8, and the one that we specifically choose at doesn't necessarily get removed. So even if we choose this one, that doesn't mean it's going to get removed, and there's a pretty bad chance that we'd actually get an extra turn off that. All of them look pretty bad, so I think we're just going to go for the green here, simply to get the damage down, and that will do 21 to all of his greens. And now we can Miststalker kill any of them we want. We can Wolf Knight kill any of them that we want. We could probably even Skull Poke it if we happen to get that 50% chance. So right here, not much we could do about the Dragon Soul. I think we're going to throw this first, simply so we can get its additional magic buff, just so it's going to be able to do a little bit better against the Dragon Soul once we head down there. It does look like we're about to lose our Wolf Knight, so instead of doing that, we're just going to move that over. He is as good as dead, so we're just going to go for another poke here, get it down before he goes down to something, and he does go down to the Dragon Soul. We don't have any summon, so no way to get that slot back. We'll simply take that, get another Miststalker down, that will kill last slot, and that's pretty much match from there. So we'll go move that over, see what else, we'll go through that, get another Azura down, and that Azura should full mana something, which will bring us very close. Just that into a Miststalker at this point. We can do that off of red. Not only will it hit him, but we will also get the mana that we need. We also get some purple out of it. Oh, we can also take that. But I'm still going to do this, do it on the red right here. Hope to get something out of this Cascade, and we do get some of our mana, but we already had it accumulated, so not too much. That's going to be 3 damage short, which is 1 kill off of him, but we'll go do that. Hopefully it doesn't revive here. Just out of safety's sake, I am going to take a skull in case it does want to revive, and it does revive. And that is why we took the skull, just in case. So now we can throw a blank Miststalker on him. It gets the poison because we weren't anywhere near the kill, so at least that will start ticking it down slowly. And hopefully this time, he does not revive. Okay, it's going to be one of those kind of battles, so we will destroy him a billion times. By the way, starting next patch, Dragon Soul will no longer have that trait. It will also no longer have Mana Shield, because Mana Shield's getting Mana Drain immunity next patch. So it's going to be a lot less annoying starting next patch. Let's see, will he revive for a 3rd time? Let's see, what's the safest way of playing this right now? Just in case. Okay, let's take this brown and then take that skull. Before I do, let me take that blue. And 3rd time? Okay, finally, he dies. And there we go. Now let's go into the mid-range team and then the higher range. What do we have here? We should be able to take that. So we'll go into mid-range. Has 3 green, which is pretty nice. This one's slightly different than the one I used earlier, though very similar to the first team that we ended up using it with. The biggest issue I had was with the Azura. I felt like I kept countering out my own mana. So this time around, we're going how I normally play a Marilith, and that is throwing all red into her and then spamming her like crazy. That's generally how I play her almost in every team I ever bother using her in. The main reason being is she can accumulate a lot of mana that way, and basically only takes 1 turn to ever get back up. or instantly back up due to cascades. So now we just keep spamming out the Corvash, keep spamming out the Marilift, keep picking off with Miststalkers as we need, and of course use the Shocktopus for board control, or for damage, mostly for board control though, whenever it pops up. And this team does use 4 things. Every single thing on this team is pure true damage, so it's just going to hit straight into their HP values. Also, yes, I didn't even say what true damage is, but for any of you that don't know, yes, true damage does do straight through the armor. As you can see, it just directly hits the HP, and that's the main reason for kind of using the Shocktopus and these heavy amounts of true damage on the team, is we basically just ignore their armor value and just go straight for their HP value and kill them out that way. So right here, we're going to throw that Marilift. It does give him quite a bit of value due to bad luck, but as you can see, every single time, it's basically just 1 turn to get it back up. He is very close to full mana, but that's easily counterable simply by using a Corvash here that will drain him out, and down goes all of his mana. Miststalker clean it up, and then we just repeat that 1 more time into a Marilift Miststalker, and that should almost be enough damage, if not enough damage. See how much that's up to right now. 37, that would be enough. Unfortunately, we don't have that last little bit of mana. So to do that, we're just going to take something really weird. I don't believe we have a Cascade or anything. So we're simply just going to take red that goes directly into both of them. And we throw the Miststalker, and that will indeed be enough damage. And it even gains extra magic, bringing it up to like 40 by the end of that battle. Miststalker can start stacking up quite a bit of damage, particularly earlier in the game when 3 additional damage is quite useful. And now into the last team. Really, double Spirit Fox, interesting. That could be a little bit annoying initially, but we'll see how that pans out. So for the final one, we're going to be basically throwing in a Uriali. With the Uriali, we will be able to take out true damage to everything on the opposing team. Uriali has the highest full AoE true damage. She is a mythic, but as you can see, we get the poison for any extra turn, which will start doing 1 true damage at a 50% chance every single turn, and that can also cause lethal. And ideally, you would want to be able to get Ragnagord up immediately and then roll from there. Oh, I was hoping he would not go for that Miststalker. He actually got a lot of value out of that initial Miststalker, and he's going to get another one too. So much so that I'm not going to be taking... normally what I'd be doing here is going for the Ragnagord mana, but there's a good chance if I do that, he's just going to go straight into another mana drain. So instead of that, we're going to take... Oh, wait, I just made a mistake. Okay, good, it didn't go for it. I just took purple to bait it out with a Miststalker. Normally, it will hit whatever has the highest mana on the team. But because Miststalker has Stealthy, that doesn't actually work in this case. But we'll go for that. Miststalker, I kind of just want to throw just to get it off. Mainly because the other purple that we're going to be exploding isn't really going to go to use if we have it completely blocked. So might as well get rid of it. Go for the explosion there. This should almost fill up everything. Almost. Uriali's a little short. One really nice thing about having a high mana cost Uriali there is we will have the excess mana that we can keep feeding in with the Shocktopus. So right here, we're going to go for the green. We end up getting a double skull out of it. There's not a guaranteed chance. There is 11 greens on the board, so there is a chance that some of these may not go. I need these 3 in particular to all drop, which will give us a skull right there and the skull right there, which will ideally happen. Though, as I mentioned, it does not guarantee hit whatever you hit. So if we do that, there's not a full chance that that would have been removed. But we do get the good Cascade. We get a Refire as well. If we do this on green, watch, it gets a single kill there. And then we can take the other one out with maybe a Miststalker or something. So I will go for the green or purple here. It looks like green, because that will go right... Oh, actually, no, that one. You know what? Maybe I go for blue, because we need the full Uriali here. And that's the only thing that's going to feed directly into it. Because if I do it on green... Well, actually, yellow would too. No, it wouldn't. Never mind. Because we're using green-yellow here, so blue would be the only option. So I was right the first time. So we'll do that on blue, get the Tesla, and now that will be almost a double kill, and then we can take it out with the second cast. So right here, that will be 21. That's boosted by the thing, though. So that's 23. That is only enough to kill the 1. So let me actually go for a Miststalker here. That is going to hit first slot because it's lowest durability, even though it's not lowest HP. We can take another Skull Poke, though, given that we're doing so much true damage, that is kind of pointless. It will get the kill, though, if I don't do it. So you know what? I actually am going to go for that. Just to make sure it doesn't die immediately. We can go for it again right here, but because he has the full mana, we're just going to have to let it die to that skull there. And for whatever reason, AI does not take the skull. Very good for us, so we'll just go simply take that skull. And now anything that we do is basically to win. Just throw the explosion, hopefully get an extra turn here. If not, we simply have anything to go cast, and then just throw down the Miststalker. You may have noticed I use a Miststalker on a lot of these. The main reason for this is it just has a really high single target true damage. If I'm not mistaken, it is the second highest or third highest, even though it's only a rare. It has really, really high If you are looking for something that's even higher, the highest that there is Jotnar, if you happen to have him. He is a mythic, but he can hit very, very high due to his 7x boost ratio. His base value is about the same as a Miststalker, assuming that he's the only giant and no barriers are on your team. That's a 31 right there. And as you can see, a Miststalker is a 29, though based on his trait, that is 30, assuming he's the only red. And if you have another one, if you have 2 reds on your team, they're actually the same exact base value, a Miststalker and a Jotnar. The main value that comes from the Jotnar single hits is if you have barrier, every single barrier and every single giant on the team counts for an additional 7 damage on him. So he can very easily reach max if you have him fully traded to get those barriers, as well as just having maybe an extra giant or something on the team. But anyways, that is the new Shocktopus. It is definitely a really interesting troop. Not really that good on defend. I was hoping it would be, but the AI uses it horribly. Not really something you would really need a trait. It has an okay water link. But the other 2 traits I don't really find myself using much because you very rarely actually need this to counter Submerge. Submerge is currently very weak. Not many things run it, and the things that do run it don't really get used that often. If Submerge ever does make a comeback in the game, Shocktopus will definitely be the thing you'd want to roll against it. Unfortunately, there's almost no Submerges at the moment that are viable, so Shocktopus is kind of mid-range at the moment, not really something you'd mess with too often, unless you're specifically building a true damage team that's going to be needing it. One other purpose he has is if you don't have a really good green-yellow, he is a slightly lower rarity alternative to something like a Grapple Pot or Famine or something like that, where you do need a green-yellow in your team, but you just don't have anything to put there. Very few green-yellows are actually good. Early game, you would use something like a Ranger initially, but there isn't really anything better than that until you've reached like a Grapple Pot or something. But now there is. There's the Shocktopus, so at least there's another slightly better green-yellow alternative that isn't completely useless as a damage source. But anyways, guys, that is the new Shocktopus. If you still have any questions about him or any teams or any questions in general about Gems of War, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everyone.